Well, Yolande, gold, of course, the big feature yesterday, and although it fell back a little bit this morning, I see the prices on the rise again, and that's really helping to bolster our commodity stocks, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Stephen. Gold at 1045 US dollars an ounce seems to be quite, seems to be hitting an intraday level. We saw some profit taking earlier as gold came below just, at 1041 US dollars an ounce. It seems to have peaked again, but definitely looking a little bit weakish though. We need to see it rally quite strongly this afternoon before we can call any kind of levels.
I mean, do you think this is mostly speculators that are pushing the price higher? Or do you think there's actually physical demand coming into the market as well?
I think it's speculators. If one looks at the behavior of the investors taking some profit, there's the reporting season starting out in the States this afternoon. So really, perhaps some investors waiting on the sideline, waiting to see what the results look like with the expectation, setting the tone, before we can see gold moving higher.
Of course, we had the gold miners up 6.7% yesterday, so really rallying on that higher gold price. Up again today, but of course that stronger rand, the rand around 745, must be negating lots of the gains for those gold miners.
Yes, even what one really needs a price of about $275,000, 275 rand a kilo. Sorry, in order for them to really meet margins, and anything below that, it really starts to eat into their cash. And a lot of miners are burning cash at the moment, with the rand being so strong. One would need the rand to be at least 855 at this current level, if gold maintains the price of $1,000 an ounce.
And of course, as we do have gold increasing, that's obviously adding to the positive momentum in the rand as well, and helping to support the rand at these stronger levels, I should imagine.
Yes, but unfortunately, it's really about the rand gold price that the miners are receiving, and there are so many indicators at the moment. You saw BMW come in last, I think it was early this week, that said they were going to be investing 2.2 billion in South Africa. We saw the SA Reserve numbers come out this morning that are all really rand supportive. So in the short term, we're looking at a stronger rand, which is really not good for our miners.
Well, just looking at that gold and Forex data that came out, and it was higher, largely due to the SDRs from the International Monetary Fund, and also due to that Eurobond that was raised a couple of months back. But it doesn't look like there was much intervention by the SARB in the market, does it?
Well, I'd like to speculate looking at the numbers, because when you look at the number, the foreign reserve number increased by 957 million US dollars. About 500 million was the foreign loan, and we had about 283 million being the SDR. There is a portion that one really can't account for, and one could speculate that Tito maybe did follow through on his word and has been intervening and buying US dollars and selling rands, or perhaps other foreign currencies.
Mm-hmm. Well, just looking at the financials, we had banks up quite nicely yesterday, up again by 0.8% today. So yeah, a nice comeback for the banks. What do you think is supporting bank share prices at the moment?
Well, Goldman Sachs came out, I think it was yesterday, that said, banks are the stock to invest in, and we've seen a stronger rand recovering after the MTN Bharti. So really a stronger rand and a combination of the Goldman reports have really sent banks running at the moment.
I mean, you mentioned the start of the US reporting season. Of course, we have Alcoa kicking off that reporting season this afternoon with its numbers. What are we looking for from Alcoa and from US companies? I mean, is this really going to be a benchmark for how our companies are going to perform going forward?
Well, I think a lot of, there's going to be a mixed bag of results. If we look at last season, we saw that 72% of the earnings reports in the States had met expectations. I think what's going to be important for the third quarter earnings is, one, we got to really look at the numbers. One being, is it still coming through, are profits coming through from cost cutting, or are companies actually, or are consumers starting to spend? Is there real growth coming through? a lot of our local results, I think it's quite indicative. And when we look at globally, we need to see earnings coming through from our consumers. We need to see consumers stepping up. So I think it will be an indication, because with South Africa we obviously have a lag. So really, I think it's definitely going to set a benchmark for the earnings season and for us going forward.
Well, I mean, signs of Australia returning to growth. The Royal Bank of Australia yesterday raising interest rates by 25 basis points to 3.25%. I mean, do you think that signals perhaps higher interest rates around the globe? I mean, will other central banks start to follow suit?
I think globally, when we refer to the States, the UK, Europe, Australia is quite different, because they've been seeing consumer support, whereas when one looks at the UK, the rest of the countries globally, there hasn't really been that much of support. And if one looks at Australia, they really are raising rates because of inflation. And unfortunately, I don't think there is a danger of inflation looking at your state, your other global countries, because with the high employment rate, or rather unemployment rate, one remains cautious. I think we have the BOE rate out tomorrow. We're going to see rates stay unchanged for a little bit longer.